Hello everyone, this is LE Diecast again, and welcome back for another part of our 2012 Mainline Series look. And we're going to be looking at all the color variations, the wheel variations, the exclusives, everything in the mainlines. And as most of you know, I try to collect the different colors is my main interest, but I try to get the entire series. And we just finished up the 2012 series, except for one car. And that car is in this series. It's the one car I don't have. And when we get there, I'll point it out. Um, and this will be part 8, I believe. And this will be numbers 210 all the way through the end of the series, which is 247. So here we go. And we're going to start off with the Shark Cruiser. The last car in our last series was the Shark Patrol. So I guess this is the shark that the Shark Patrol is trying to get. And it comes in two variations. There was a dark blue and a grayish color. Next up is the 69 Chevelle. This one is kind of a tuned version of it, a see-through blue. By the way, the Shark car is the last of the Beach series, sub-series of the Thrill Racers. Now we're starting the Ice series with the Chevelle. Chevelle is number 211. Number 212 on a somewhat beat-up card is the What 42. Not really my favorite car. I'm never a fan of when they have the cast colored plastic, which I think makes for some of the ugliest cars in the Hot Wheel line. But that is it. And next up is the Paradigm Shift. Paradigm Shift, another one of the Ice Series cars, number 213. Next up, no color variations of these except for the Shark Cruiser so far. Next up is the Cloak and Dagger. Cloak and Dagger, if you haven't seen this car before, this top kind of carapace comes off and reveals like a turbine type car underneath there. It's not particularly good for the track, but that little pointy piece right on the front is great for knocking cars off the track that have flipped over. So this is one of the ones we use to clear the track. Vampira, next up. Another one of my son's favorite. He really likes the creature cars. It's number 215. Vampira is part of the, is this the prehistoric one yet? No, still Ice. So it's an Ice vampire bat car. And number 216, kind of a cool car. This starts the prehistoric subset, and that is the 71 Buick Rivera. This one came in two colors. This red one I found to be pretty easy to find. This green one was more difficult for me to find. I got a question if the exclusive colors were regional, like if they were harder to find in some regions than another. And the truth is, I don't really know. Number 217 is the Shell Shock. I don't really know. I wouldn't think so. I'd think they'd just load up the boxes wherever they come from and ship them out to wherever they go, but who knows. This car, this is kind of an ugly car. This was one of the last ones I got, and it was just because it was probably my least favorite. One of my least favorite cars. I'm not crazy about it. It's great on the track, but kind of a boring little car. Jeep Scrambler is next. Part of the prehistoric line again. Sub-series, I should say. Fast Fortress came along. This has long been one of my favorite castings. Not particularly crazy about this color, but I like this car. I just like the way it looks. And I have it on a small card, so I probably put off buying it for too long. Number 220 is the Textroyer, kind of a dinosaur car in red. If you're thinking this came in other color variations, it's because between 2012 and 2013 there were a bunch of them released, but all the others were in 2013. 221 is the Hummer H2 in green. 222, now we're into the Earthquake series. The Hummer was in the Earthquake series as well. And that is the Toyota off-road truck. This is a neat car. It's another one. In 2011, there were a couple variations of that one. Only one in 2012. Next up, 213, and that is the Power Sander, little doom buggy type car. 224, the uninspired coloring of the Mega Duty. This is a neat car, and this is just a boring casting. That putty pink color doesn't look great on it. And again, it's one of those that it's I'm looking at it to see it's a colored plastic, and those just tend to look kind of dead. They just don't shine, and they're not that pretty. Next up, Diesel Boy. This guy's had a lot of work in the last couple series. That one in red. Only one color variation on that one. Shouldn't say variation if there's only one color, huh? Next one, I have a bunch of, but they're all on short cards. I don't know what the story was with that. And that's the Custom 11 Camaro. I don't remember this one being hard to find. This particular casting is a popular one. Maybe it was. Usually when they're on the short cards, it means I'm picking them up at Toys R Us late at night for ones I have had a hard time finding, but we'll see. This one has a story. The next one is 227, and this one, if there ever was a regional car that was easier to find in some parts of the US than others, it was this one. I've only seen 2 of these cars ever on the shelf, and there should be nothing rare about this particular car. And they were going for cheap on eBay. There was a lot of people that said they weren't having any trouble at all finding them. So I don't know if there's somebody in my hometown that just loves these and buys up every single one of them that ends up on the shelf, or if they really were harder to find in my area. But this was one of the last cars I was able to find, and I had never seen one of these up until about 2 months ago. So there's the other one. Those are the only 2 I've ever seen right there. Bought both of them just in case something happened to one, since I'd never see them again, I guess. As far as I know, nobody else had trouble finding those, but I sure did. Number 228 is the C6 Corvette. Silver, one color of that one. Next is the Dodge Challenger drift car. And if you remember, there was another drift car in the last video, and I've put them away. Now I don't remember the name of it. But this is the orange variation. There's a white variation of this same car, and this white variation looks very much like the other one, which had a black tampo on it. Kind of a black and red tampo on the other one, but those 2 I got confused for the longest time. I thought they were the same car. Number 230 is the Scion, which is hardly fair that a Scion comes right after a Dodge drift car. And not fair at all that the Scion has to sit right between a drift car and a Ford Shelby. Poor little Scion. The Shelby came in 2 color variations. There was this yellowish orange, and then there was a purple. And if I remember right, I think the purple is the harder of the 2 to find. Next, another one of my least favorite castings in this group, and again, it's always these cast plastic colored ones. And I don't know if they'll show up on video, but that plastic just looks dead on these. It doesn't sparkle, it doesn't shine, there's nothing special about it. But this is the Dirty Outlaw in probably my least favorite coloring that it's ever come out in. The daisy yellow with the aquamarine blue that I don't think anybody would be thrilled to drive. Next is the Dodge Viper SR T10. Sorry, I looked away. This one only came in one color. This kind of starts a long line here of, oh, by the way, these are code cars we're into now. I didn't mention that before. And the code card series kind of goes for a ways. Next up is the Snow Ride. This one, the collectors really tend not to like this one. No wheels on this one. Well, there's one wheel if you can see it there. One wheel. And this one came out in the last series as well. Canyon Carver in baby blue. Number 236, the Berserk. Again, I have this one on a small card. I had a lot of trouble finding this one, but I have a hard time thinking this one was rare. I don't think it was. And this one from the side doesn't look anything like it. It's got kind of a blade thing there that rolls. So when you roll it, the blade thing catches whatever you're rolling it on and spins. Works really good on carpet. Next up, 237, which is the Formula Street. In kind of a funky color scheme. The yellow and the lime green and a red. I'm not sure those colors go together no matter what you do with them, but 238. Another car that my son snagged all of mine of, and I had a hard time finding one to complete the collection, and that is the Tread Air. And it does have wheels, but they're very small. Very tiny little wheels. The Tigre. One of the last cars to come out in the series. This was, I believe, in the last case that came out. That's 239. We are getting close to the end. Fangula. This one, I thought, came in a different color variation. And for months, I was looking for the color variation. I was positive it was the rarest car ever. And that was, I thought it came in a black. And this is really hard to see. Let's see, the card shows a blue car. And I was sure there was a black version. And I got it mixed up with the secret hunts. What were they called? The street hunts or something. The ones in the little bags, there was a black Fangula in there. And it took me forever to figure out that there is only one color variation in the Mainline series. Next up is Semi-Psycho. That does bring up a question, is what do I consider the Mainline series? And you could get pretty carried away with that. We're going to be going over all the Mainlines, which we're almost done with here. The Redline cars, the Banner cars, both of those were Walmart exclusives. And then if I can, I will make a video with the Super Treasure Hunts. I have about half of them, but I don't have the others. And I will see if I can borrow the others from someone. So that's what we will cover. Next up is You're So Fast. This is, again, a track car that I really like. Not crazy about this color, but it's a neat track car. 240. I just missed one. What is that? That's 242. Oh, glad I caught that. 243 is this big ugly beast. And that is the Invader. The Invader without a little firing bullety thing there. Usually there used to be a little bullet that you would put into its cannon and pull back, kind of pull back, and there was a spring in there and it would shoot. And no more. No bullet for you. 2012. Next up is the Go-Kart. Yes, the Go-Kart. This one was hard to find. It's popular. It's just one of those models that's really popular with collectors. and they snatched them all up. And I have 2 on short card. Probably got them at Toys R Us. Okay, and finally, number 245 is the cool one. This is the one I'm missing. Is the cool one comes with a color or a wheel variation. And if you were watching all of the videos, there were 3 wheel variations that show up on Southwest Diecast's collector chart for this series. And this is one of them. And there is a wheel variation where these wheels are really thick spoked and solid. You can see through these to the back there to the silver. There is a wheel variation with a solid spoke. I do not have it. And that is the one that I believe I need. So if you see anything that I missed, let me know, because I think we've covered all the color variations, wheel variations, and exclusives in the main line, except for 2 more, and that is 246, which is Twinduction. Love, love, love this car for the track. I've got a bunch of colors, and this was one of my favorite colorings. And that's the gold with the blue stripe. And the last car, dun, 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 247. And that's Asphalt Assault. We'll zoom in on him, make sure we're zoomed in. And that brings our little journey through the Mainline series almost to a close, at least for the number 1 through 247. We've seen all the variations. The next video will probably cover the Redlines or the banner cars, or both. I'll have to figure out how I do that. That'll be out in a little while. But for now, make sure you visit us at the Facebook page. That's at LE Diecast on Facebook. And we've got all sorts of things going on. We also have pictures of all the cars and all the collections in the albums there. So for now, I will see you later. Thanks for watching, and